Hello everyone, welcome to the recent well, yeah. I'm starting to think that this wasn't such a great idea. Hello everyone, E here. Thank you for tuning in to the latest LEGO Hogwarts update. This is me. This is the LEGO Home Alone set. And this is how big the Great Hall is after I rebuilt it from scratch. Let's get into it. I honestly don't really know where to start. Perhaps one good option would be to share with you that this whole process took me over 50 hours of building, not counting breaks and so on. And those 50 hours were within a 6-day period. And by the end, I was really losing my mind, uh, which was kind of interesting because at least 2 or 3 times after a 6, 7, 8 hour session, I was really addicted to keep going, but just physically couldn't. One reason was I really wanted to push this video and not really delay it anymore, because I always promise a 10 to 14 day period, and I really hate when somebody promises something and they don't deliver. So was really pushing for it, and also it was very interesting and I really wanted to keep going. I think one session that I had was maybe 8 hours of building, and then I slept another 3 hours and then woke up and pretty much continued right away. It was crazy. I'm really glad it's all over. And don't really know what exactly to say. I mean, the end result is, I think, amazing. I can't believe how great this was. And uh, in case you didn't get the point of the start of this video, this was a much bigger venture than I initially thought it would be. It was completely crazy, and in the end, I had to take down absolutely everything. I think the only wall that I didn't touch was the inside wall here separating the dining hall and the foyer, because that's the only thing I didn't touch. Everything else I took apart at some point or another. But anyway, let's do my best to highlight everything and show you everything that has changed. And hopefully this doesn't take an hour of explanations. So let's start by what happened. I took everything apart, took all the towers. Well, obviously the towers were barely touched because they just slot in. So I took them out. I took out the whole hat of the roof, which was separated into two, if you remember. And then I took out the whole construction that supports the roof, which actually went really well. It really came out in chunks, which was the intended plan. And I was really confident that I would be able to, if not put it back together, then replicate it very easily. And I took the walls on both sides, including the back doors that open. I basically managed to take them out as a whole piece as well, which was really nice because I didn't really have to change them, just made them a little bit taller in the end. And then the first thing that I did was increase the size from this side by, I think, 20 studs. So basically this whole side here was increased by a third. If you remember, before the Great Hall reached from here, I mean, excluding the courtyard and this entry hallway, we had from here up to here of the second plate. These are 32 by 32 stud plates, and it finished around here. So now, if you can see, it's about a third of increase in length, which is very nice because now the courtyard and the Great Hall are not the same length. Before they were pretty much identical, and now the Great Hall is longer, as it should be, and I think the dimensions are pretty close to accuracy right now. Really proud of that. I took apart the first section here so I can turn it around and show you this side. Now initially a lot fewer changes had to happen, but just the necessity really made this project really complicated, and as I kept building and building, I found different ways of improving, and all the things ended up being changed one way or another. Now, for example, let's start with over here. Now the kitchens, which are over there along with the other modules, are now will be different because this side here is a lot longer, and I have a completely different plan for the kitchens, which is why I ended up doing this rebuild, because if I had to go through the kitchens and do interior work again, making this whole change to the whole building would have been impossible. So this was now or never basically for this project. So yeah, now we're gonna have the kitchen slightly different, and the first thing are these supports that I have all throughout this section here, because I found that even though I never had an issue of actually the floor coming down, it was a bit of a problem. Like the flooring of the Great Hall inside was always kind of, I could see it wasn't leveled in this way. Now we have these Technic bricks over here. Basically, there are 2 or 3 stacks over here, and they really are supporting this over here. It's not perfect. I mean, one day I would hope to make the whole section here of Technic rows with Technic bricks, so it could really be sturdy. But right now there's like 5 or 6 rows over here which perfectly support everything. And yeah, and also replacing it wouldn't be a problem because I can easily work from underneath. I could slide the building forwards and have half the building, the heavier part, which is this side I believe, sitting on the table, and then I can have the rest over here, and I can reach and remove the floor, and I can work on these supports here and add from underneath. Hopefully I would not have to take everything apart again. That's the idea, because this is just crazy. Anyway, so now the kitchens are going to be into 2 drawers basically. At least that's the plan right now. But obviously this little section over here, which was the kitchens before, is going to have to be destroyed completely and reworked. Now, one little problem was that in the end, can I turn this with one hand? Yeah. In the end, I had to increase the front side too. And why did I do that? Because the math here just didn't pan out properly. And I really wanted these windows here to be beautiful and to be spread out evenly as they should be. If you remember, the side windows on this side and this side were touching the border here of the roof. And even one window was, well, that's the one on the other side, it was basically not even. And why is that? Now I have to turn this again. I am talking about this window here. The pattern is we have a tower, window, tower, and they're always separated by, well, before it was 2 studs, but now the windows are 4 studs. So we have the towers a bit more spread out, which doesn't make everything very clustered. And also it has exactly enough space for the whole window here in the roof to be visible. But over here, in the end, because we have this bigger window in the foyer section, we had this kind of, if you remember, half of it was hidden and half of it was showing. It wasn't really nice. And in order for this to be perfect, I had to increase also the front section by another 4 studs. So now the whole building from here, including the courtyard, is over 120 centimeters long, which just blows my mind. Everything comes from this tower, which is in the middle of this bigger window section. And before, the distance between this tower and the others was different. But in the pictures, we can see that the distances here should be equal to the distance over here. And now, with increasing this by 4 studs, we have exactly the enough space to make this work. And that means that these towers can also have a little more breathing room. And in the end, the distance between these little windows is equal everywhere, which means this tower also is available to be exactly in the middle, which is the way it should be. Now, another change that I made after I got to the roof, which was I don't know, day 5 or something. This whole section, I decided that it would be one big piece. And I thought, I mean, I was a bit on the fence because it's very heavy. I know I'm trying to put as few pieces as possible, but this roof needs to not come apart when I push it, and that means there needs to be a lot of support inside, and that means a lot of pieces, which means it's going to be heavy. And sliding it, actually, it's a lot easier than I thought. I was a bit scared that it would be difficult to place, but now it means that only these sides here need to be connected to this side. Now this part, as well as it was before, is not removable. As you can see, from here to here, this is built in exactly on top of the foyer section. Now this is very important to be sturdy, and I made it again sturdier and better. And unlike before, I have placed connectors on 4 sections, one here, one on the other side, and 2 at the top. So basically both the top and the bottom side are connected with Technic pins, so this doesn't really have a place to go. One other thing that I did is put these little modular plates underneath, so when I slide this, it can connect also on the bottom here, because even though there are 4 Technic connectors here, it turns out that this big piece doesn't really want to align perfectly, and these plates really keep it together. Here's the building from the back. Before, this is removable, and this section here is removable, and it needs to be removed in order for the doors to open. I've left these ugly windows again. It just lets me pick the drawer here better, and also it saves me some pieces. Now we open it, and we have the inside of the great hall. It's a bit dark now, I know, but you can see, I hope that I'm gonna keep my camera lit a little bit, but yeah, there we go. Now the tables are longer. I have removed the whole floor because I was really hoping to kind of improve on it, but all the pictures I see are these dark tan, almost no pattern kind of floor, which really gives me little room to experiment. So basically I'm just gonna place the floor again, but try to kind of put a little pattern there just to make it a little bit pleasant to the eye, because before it was just, I mean, it's going to be full dark tan again, but the plates are going to be, the tiles are going to be placed a little bit differently. Now, one more thing that I did here is, since we increased the length, now the benches are a lot longer, and also I decided to add 2 more gargoyles. If you can see over here, I have the stands made, but I don't have the minifigs yet. I'm going to place 2 more. That's a bit better, because now we're going to have a row of 8. Is it 8? No. Yeah, it's going to be 8, right? So we're going to have a row of 8, and then another row of 3 by 3, because there are no gargoyles due to the fireplace. But now it's a bit better, because before we had 3 and 2, and it seemed a bit off this side. But now it's going to be symmetrical, 3 on each side, and a nice even number over here. And yeah, I think it's really nice. Now all these Technic kind of things are going to be hidden. If you can see over here, I've placed this plate over here, hiding all the ugliness, and we're gonna have another row actually over here. Currently thinking about ways to add the candles that are floating with transparent kind of bricks, but not really figured out exactly how to do that, or at least even if there is a good way to do it at all. So that's why I haven't really placed them yet. But I've left myself like windows to build in, like over here. There is like place between these arches. I've left some studs there, so I can maybe place like a mechanism or anything really. And that's pretty much the way it looks right now. Still no students, but now we can work on it peacefully and place students, but that's really the easy part. Now, as I said, everything here is removable, like the whole roof is removable from here to here. Now with one hand, I think it would be a disaster, but basically over here, these 2 these two modular kind of plates over here are keeping this leveled with everything. And yeah, it's the support. I'm really happy the way it turned out. Once this is hidden, it's going to be very, very immersive, I would say. What about the front section, you may ask? Now, I've raised the building's height as well, and the main reason was because the distance between the clock and the spire was not enough. So then I asked myself, how much should I raise it by? And the leading point was the doors, because these doors are very peculiar. So I couldn't really raise it by just 2 bricks. So I started off with the doors, so I added another layer of doors. Before we had 3 pairs of gates here, and then I added another one, and I decided, well, if I add another one and make them 5, it would be way too tall. So we made the doors the way they are. That meant I think it's like 8 bricks. No, must be more. Yeah, more like one door is like yeah, 9 bricks. And as we made the doors, we decided, well, that's how it's going to be. We made the towers here, and once we even leveled this whole section here before placing the towers, it was a lot easier because we just had things to build. Before that, it's just a lot of calculating and really looking around. So yeah, basically there's another 2 doors here, and again we can open them from the inside. The mechanism here is the same, but since everything is taller, that meant that we'll have more space here inside. And I've added another row of statues over here of knights, which I've not placed, but as you can see, there are the slots over here. And I've really improved on this section because now this is a lot wider, which means you can easily see what's inside, and I can even easily film it. Because before this was very, very like a narrow corridor. The downside of this is now this whole building here needs to be destroyed and rebuilt wider just to fit here. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing next time. The towers themselves are the same design. The chimney is integrated again very well. The side here again is hidden and there are no windows. That means that we have more room for the fireplace inside, which is really nice. And yeah, I'm really happy that this has turned out a lot better actually than I thought. And although it was very stressful to keep calculating and changing and increasing everything and rebuilding from scratch, in the end the result is very, very promising and very satisfying. It also means, however, that this front section that I just made very, very recently will have to be changed as well, like this drawer here that hides the mechanism for the Hufflepuff common room entrance. Since I increased the front size a little bit, that means that this room here is a little bit more than before, but the changes should be minimal. I think I only increased this by 4 studs, so yeah, just very, very minor changes over here. Again, I've placed this technic kind of things. You can see they're little bit bent, like I don't really like it, but this is not gonna fall apart. Like I've put a lot of pressure here just to see if it will support, and this will not bend anymore. And I think this is a lot better than before. And because before we had these big plates underneath that were kind of holding everything, but it just wasn't that great, and there was a lot more strain on the pieces there than in this variant. You can see here maybe we have 4 or 5 rows, I believe, yeah, 5 rows of support pillars, and it was really important those pillars to be not against any of these windows, because that means if we looked out from outside it would look very, very well ugly to me. Now, talking about windows, let's want to show you something. These side windows, I'm not really sure in which side it was because I'm kind of experimenting with it. Now, I don't know really. Yeah, there we go. I think it was on this side somewhere. Where exactly though? I'm not sure. So many windows. Maybe it was on this side. yeah, over here you can see, I'm not really sure if you can see, but there is a little bit of orange inside this one. Do you see a difference between this and this? Yeah, I think it is visible. Like here behind the window there's blackness, and over here there's a little bit of orange. Now that's because I'm testing these transparent orange pieces that I've placed just behind, and there's little room for maybe a light brick or something, and one day maybe we can use that to illuminate all these windows here. That would be really nice. And there we go, everything is back together again. I can't really tell you how satisfying it is to be able to take everything apart, although it's so massive, to be able to move this, like this whole great whole section, removing the courtyard and removing the towers and removing the roof, takes about a minute, really, as long as I have two available hands. And then everything else, the building, I can pick it up and I can basically just even waver it around in my hands and it will not come apart. That's so important, and I can't really describe to you how satisfying it is after you go through hell basically to put everything so massively together. And this whole section here also, I can pick it up. It's Mill's sectional underneath, and yeah, sometimes I should show it on camera how I'm just running around and this is not coming apart. But yeah, even in this video you can see that I'm removing things all the time just to show you different angles. And let me tell you, I'm not doing this for 5 or 10 minutes. Everything is just snapping out very nicely and smoothly, and I can place it back in just like that. Let's focus on the courtyard. Now over here, if you can see, I have placed the this little, what's it called, like a gatehouse, kind of testing with it. Basically, I saw this piece over here one day in one store that I was purchasing from, and I wasn't really sure if it would work. And even now that I've placed it, I'm not really sure if it works. And why is that? Because I think it's kind of not wide enough. Although it does cover the doors. I mean, it is as wide as the doors themselves, and that's what it should do. But I'm not really sure I like it. But I don't think there is a bigger barrier gatehouse available. Tell me what you think. I mean, it was really easy to just put it behind the clock. But yeah, I think it looks okay. Now it's not like a mechanism. I can't really lower it down, but we don't really need to. As long as it's there, it's a nice decoration piece. You can see I've placed some Dementors here and there just to, I don't know, make myself happy. It's a little reward for myself after I placed everything together. Now, here, let's talk about this. Something different here. Now, I decided that the floor before, with all the dark bluish gray, light bluish gray, and moss green pieces, was really, it just wasn't pleasant to the eye to watch. Like, it looked bad in my opinion. And I decided, well, let's go to the ingots idea. I found this store where we have the ingots like $1.50 or something like that per ingot. So I just bought, I don't know how many ingots are here. Maybe it's over 500 for sure. Maybe a little bit more. And yeah, we just use this pattern here, very simple. And then that gave me the opportunity to place a little bit of like weeds and flowers and just make it a little bit more beautiful. Like here and there I've placed this little rock kind of pieces, like over here, that maybe they're like chips of the stairs are falling off, or there's something basically over here that has been worn out. Just trying to make it as natural as possible and kind of use contrasts and whatnot. Now over here you can see there are a few empty studs because I'm missing 2 ingots for some reason. I thought I ordered like 20 extra, but I think in the end I used a lot more underneath the flowers themselves, which kind of wasted all the additional ingots I had. So in the end, yeah, I ended up with missing 2 ingots. I'll just have to order 2 more whenever I have the chance. Apologies for that. Kind of annoyed me, but it is finished pretty much. But yeah, I think this is a lot better. I also changed the benches a little bit. They were wider. They were 3 studs wide, and I made them back to 2 because they just looked not really accurate. It looked too big, and I made them dark tan instead of light bluish gray, I believe they were. And I think this is a lot better for these 2 benches. The same amount of students are here, and all the storytelling inside is the same, I believe. If you want to check that in detail, you should check the video where I describe all the storytelling. I'm not going to remove the roof right now. But yeah, obviously these towers here are now taller, and there is just one little thing that I am kind of missing. Like before, we had basically the front section here. From here to here, we had this wall that was part of this construction. And now the math wasn't panning out, so I decided actually this wall, which was hidden before, is going to be visible, which is fine. That ended up making me change the design over here a little bit, but it's pretty much the same. One little problem, see, over here, you see this little reddish brown stud popping out, and that shouldn't be visible. And I noticed this a little bit late. Now there is one problem. It should either, this line here, if you see it's overlapping throughout the whole building, and we should either not have a line here at all like it is, or we should have a full line. And now both sides are kind of weird, like if this should either overlap over here in this stud as well, or it shouldn't exist at all. So I'm kind of thinking how exactly to do this, because now everything is being built on top, and the insides here and the insides over here are a lot better than they were before, because before it was a little, well, not a little, a gigantic mess inside. And this time I really did my best to kind of follow a little bit better pattern inside and not just put random pieces. And what I'm trying to say is that going back down here on both sides is going to be a little bit difficult, but I'm so tired last couple of days from building. I think I'm going to let this as it is for the time being, and once I have a little bit more energy and free time, I'm going to try and see if it's possible to kind of fix that little bump. Maybe I have this little way of kind of raising the piece just a little bit without the construction falling apart, so I can just kind of slide out or in and out pieces if needed. But here the process will be a little bit more complicated, because here we have bricks and we have to place a plate, so I'm not really sure. I'm going to see which is easiest. So we're either going to have the whole pattern continue, or we're going to have the pattern removed and stop over here and continue from this side. I hope I'm making myself clear enough, but yeah, it's not a big deal. And I hope it's not going to be very, very difficult to fix. Now, one thing I'm not completely happy about this, I don't want to be negative, but it just sticks out in my mind. Like, this pattern over here is not so satisfying, and I changed it 3 times before actually starting to build on top. Now, because the reason is because over here from this pillar to this pillar we have 11 studs, and 11 studs means that's an odd number, and these windows over here that we're using, they're 2s, so we can't really have all these windows because they're either 2, 4, 6, 8 or 10 studs. That means it leaves 1. And I solved this issue by putting these little pillars. I didn't want to have all rows of windows. I took 1 over here and 1 over here. That left space for 1 in the middle, and 8 studs were covered with windows. And it was needed this to be an odd number because the math here needs to pan out for the distance between these, which means the distance over here, and I already explained everything about that. But that means that the arch here is kind of weird. We can't really have this arch, this same arch here over here, you know what I mean? And in the pictures, it's not the same either. Like the original castle design, it's not the same as this, but it's very, very close. And we can't really have that now. I attempted different arches. Now one way was to kind of have like an arch, then another arch on top, and then continuing the same pattern. That looked kind of ugly to me. Like I don't really like this pattern or this wavy lines. Now we had these a little bit up here as well, but then it looked even worse than this in my opinion. So in the end, I just ended up doing this little thing here. I even tried like this kind of thing with these pieces, these inverted slopes over here, but it just again didn't look right. And this, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It just bothers me inside. I don't know, to an outsider that looks it from like afar for the first time, and if this kind of sticks out to you. But to me, it kind of bothers me a little bit. Like I have this inner feeling that could be done better. But I just can't really figure out exactly how to do it right now. But if at some point I like get a good idea of how to improve on it, if at all, I can like it's not a problem really to kind of get in here. I've made that way just to like cover myself. Now, what does this mean for the future of the Lego Hogwarts? Now, obviously, again, I'll have to redo some of the things that were already done. The most time-consuming thing would probably be the side building, which is over here. We'll have to basically remake it, and I'm saying it's going to be the most time-consuming because I have placed all the interiors and so on inside. But I'll try to kind of take them out and have them, like, I'll make pictures again before taking them so I can recreate them very easily and not have to think back or reinvent things that I've already figured out. Just let myself kind of put little reminders. But yeah, we'll make it wider, which is, you know, like time consuming, you know, but it will be better because now we have all this extra space to work with and the rooms will not be so small. Like, for example, this corridor over here, I mean, it looks good, but look how narrow it is. This is like 3 studs of space to place minifigs and stuff, and now it will be a lot more, maybe 6 or 8 studs. So yeah, it will be a lot better. Also, it will give us the chance to make these windows here that are like over here on this side. There should be 2 rows and there should be like proper, and with this design we couldn't really do that, but now we'll have the opportunity to do it better, so that's really good. And then we have the front section here with the Hufflepuff entrance, and that will not take a long time because we'll just increase the length here by a few studs and it should be really the same. I'm kind of thinking whether I should take apart just this side only or maybe take apart anything else. We'll see, but that will not take a long time. And then the kitchens, that, well, actually maybe a good idea to show it to you. Like, I have not shown this for ages, but yeah, we'll have a lot more room underneath to fix the tables, and I'm not really sure if I will keep this little idea with the fireplace and these little closets. I mean, it's a good idea, but I don't know if I will keep it as it is. One thing is that I figured out this whole idea with the rocks being attached to the kitchen drawer. It was a good idea initially, in my opinion, but sadly it's not very practical because even though I make it kind of sturdy, you know, like every time I take this out, there's so many like flowers and leaves here and there, and something always falls apart when I take this out, and that's annoying. So instead, we're going to have basically just a cover that's removable, like the back cover over here, the gray hole. So whenever I have to take out this drawer, I just slot it out and then I just take the drawer out, and that's a lot better because nothing will be falling apart. But yeah, That's what the future holds. Now, what exactly I'm going to be showing you and doing next time, I'm not really sure because I am really drained currently from Lego. Like, I'm so drained from building, like I said, 50 hours within 5 or 6 days. So that's like 50 hours out of 144 available I've spent building Lego. And even though I said at some point it was really addicting and fun, and well, if this wasn't fun, I wasn't going to do it at all. But it was really stressful at times, and I just want to relax. I've even taken out this set that I bought, maybe what was it, months ago that I bought it. I just want to build something with instructions. You don't have to think or create or figure out math or whatever. I just want to, yeah, relax and just gonna build this for fun. But yeah, I need a break is what I'm trying to tell you. That doesn't mean the next video will be delayed. Unless something happens, I will be showing you the next update again within the next 10 to 14 days. And yeah, but what exactly we'll accomplish by then, I am not sure. Maybe, I don't know, like one of these things, obviously, maybe some more interior, but I am also kind of running out on pieces because when I was thinking of rebuilding everything, I kind of didn't think that so many pieces will be needed, and the decisions I made in the end and on the go, just all the things stacked up so much, and a lot of my piece reserves have been depleted. So I have to order some, figure out exactly what to order, where from, and obviously it will take some time for those pieces to arrive. So I will have to slow down a little bit, but yeah, basically this is it. And what can I say as a summary or conclusion to this whole thing? It was a lot of work. It was a bigger experience and challenge, a lot bigger than I initially thought. Initially I thought, oh, I'm just gonna take things apart and I know how to build it again, and it will be very fast, like 2 days tops of work without really like stressing out. But it was a combination of things. Like once I took everything apart, I saw so many things could be improved that would take longer, and also the building itself, it was a challenge. And although I had figured out how things would pan out math-wise, so if everything's symmetrical and things like that, some of the things I hadn't considered that would change as well, especially the roof. Like I had decided how long this would be, how the windows will stack up, and how the pillars would be, but then I forgot that that kind of doesn't work with the roof. So yeah, I had to basically calculate a few things, and it's really stressful when you make a mistake. And thankfully I didn't really make many mistakes, or I think the few mistakes that I did make didn't really cost me. But I had to be really careful because going back was just really a suicide kind of thing. If you build everything, just you need this discover that you've made a mistake and you just go back. It's just terrible, terrible. But yeah, I think it worked out, and I'm very pleased that it's over, even though there were moments where it was really fun to do. But remember, I have to work, I have to sleep, I have to eat. At some point, I wasn't really even doing that. Uh, have other things to do and chores and stuff, and I also have other things to do for fun. But uh, really glad that this panned out, and the end result is really pleasing to the eye, at least to my eye. Just tell me what you think. But now from the front section, it looks a lot better because the distance from here to here is a lot more accurate, and the building should be like it looked wider before, although the width of the building is absolutely the same. That has not changed, like from here to here, I mean. That is the same thing, but now because it's taller, the building itself looks like thinner. It gives that impression, which is a lot more accurate to the movie. And yeah, it just looks a lot better. Also, the spacing between the central tower and these towers is now bigger. Before they were really clustered, and yeah, it looks great. Let me tell you, it's really satisfying to build everything, and then just to grab this tower and to be able to slot it in, like to be able to figure out the pattern on the go and just to be this to fit. It was really satisfying, just one small thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This whole section, I would say it's done. Again, I would like to mention that probably I'll add a few more minifigs, like maybe here, maybe a few inside or up here. One thing that could be improved, I'm not really sure I like these stairs anymore. I mean, the stairs will obviously be there. I have explained before why I have put the stairs. But these colors again, maybe they should be a little bit different, maybe change a little bit. I'm not really sure if we should really stick only to light bluish and dark bluish gray. Maybe I should add a third color. Maybe I should add some kind of different patterns just to kind of show that the stairs are more worn out. Not really sure. I'm just trying to say that the way they are, it's kind of bland in my opinion and could be improved upon, but I'm not really figured out exactly how to improve them yet. But this might change. But other than that, everything else, I think here, this front section is very finished. And yeah, we can finally start like working on other things. Again, over here, really excited to start developing the side here. Now, one thing that I want to mention is that if we build things here, in the end, this is now really, really heavy. Even with everything removed. So the way I slot it into here so it doesn't really go around, if we have a lot of little elements here, when I remove them, I have the danger of knocking them out. But yeah, that's one concern that I have. So I haven't started that yet. And obviously, we're really excited to start populating the inside of the Great Hall. And I also have a little bit of thing to show you. It's going to be hidden over here. We're going to have our next Easter egg that I've been actually gathering pieces to build. Really exciting, and really hope that some people watching these videos know what I'm about to do, or at least recognize it once they see it. Maybe I'll even do that next time if I can like muster up the time and the energy to build it. It's going to be hidden over here. And I think even someone in the comment section, or maybe it was one of the forums that I visit, told me, well, why don't you hide something, an Easter egg over here? And although over here, because this is removable and there has to be so much support, doesn't allow me to do anything inside over here because it's static. While I was building, I figured out, well, actually this doesn't need to be filled with pieces. So we have a little nice room, maybe 15 by 10 stud wise, just to place something in there. I think it's going to look great. Very, very convenient for what I'm planning to do. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. I don't know how long this video will be. Hopefully it will not be above 40 minutes or something, but apologies if it is. And gratitude if you have watched through it and listening to all my ramblings. Just so much to cover, and I am pretty tired after all this building, but really, really satisfied that this has panned out the way it is. And I hope you are happy to see the change in improvement as well as I am. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate if you subscribe, like, and comment on these videos. Really helps the channel, which has been getting a lot more traction the last couple of months, and I thank you for that. So yeah, thank you for watching. Happy building, and I will see you very soon. Thank you guys. Bye for now.